All right, hello, good day. Hope everybody is doing all right. Yes, this video I want to talk about, the ancestor spirits a little bit. I was sort of having some nice contact last night, in a mood for a little bit of maybe past life regression or something. I was looking at some videos on YouTube, just some fantasy things like Lord of the Ring type stuff, as I'm a fan of those kind of stuff. So I was of that type of genre, and all of a sudden the name Albion kept popping up, and Alba, which is an old name for a certain place in what is now Scotland and that sort of area. So I, for example, and I'm saying this for the benefit of anybody else too, to sort of get in touch with past life regression and ancestor spirits, as far as your current body is concerned, when it's mixed with also the ancient past, is really quite powerful and interesting, I find. So for whatever reason, my spirit guides were sort of poking me and giving their presence, saying that yeah, I have a very strong connection with that place. I have a dreadful, and I mean that in a good way, not a bad way, wink wink, fascination with the Picts and the Celtic people in general, Gaelic, Celtic, all these things. Very important to me for past life memories that are vague but very strong. And obviously many of us, if you're watching this video, probably you're a person into the same things, but all the different fingerprints that we've left behind all over the planet are memories that we've accrued over a period of time, and some of them are very beautiful. Some of them we have a longing for them, a deep affinity, sometimes a dreadful, and this time I mean the negative version of it, a dreadful memory that we're like trying to shut something out because it was negative, a bad experience, wartime, who knows what, different things like this, as you probably can imagine. So what's interesting that I find, even though, yeah, the mind tries to catch up to the heart's isness, the truth, the sum total of what we are. We're trying to sort of make sense of these things and have it in our awareness. Sorry, I hope my camera work isn't bad. I'm trying to hold this phone in a very stretched out way. The zoom, I can only have it so far, and this is as good as it gets, I guess. But yeah, how should I say that? The spirit that we are is present, permeating all through the body, the consciousness, the soul, mind consciousness, the Atma, call it what you will, the spirit entity that we are is all throughout the body. But particularly, it is said that it is located in the blood, and it may be found in the blood. So in the Bible, for example, you'll see that in the early books, like Genesis and whatnot, is talking about, well, when God says to the people, oh, well, the blood cries out to me from the ground. So the spirit's imprinted memory and experience is sort of captured within that, and it's very, very interesting. It makes you wonder. Then there's things like blood magic and these things, which I don't necessarily recommend unless you're making a holy and noble pact with somebody, maybe a hand fasting with your eternal beloved or something like that. But anyways, the reason I'm saying this is because there's the resonance in the blood itself. So when you are mixing your past life memories, and let's just say currently you have a body that is associated with the ancient past, because we can hopscotch around. Definitely, I'm a white Canadian right now. I have a lot of Celtic blood, and I have some Slavic and some Mediterranean, a little bit of this and that. But naturally, of course, our spirit will incarnate all over the globe according to our choice and design. Also, what the powers that be think is best, the hierarchy of the God and the archangels and what have you, what they think is best, and giving us contracts and saying, well, this is what you need to further yourself or pay a debt or enhance, or this might be best for your learning, etc., and things like this. So we do surely indeed hopscotch all over the planet and accumulate a variety of experience, which is very important. I know, personally speaking, I've probably been male more than female, but I do have some memories of being female before, maybe a long time ago, but mostly I've been male. And for yourselves, you may feel the exact same way. All sort of interesting mixtures of things. So it's interesting to sort of discover, recover your ancient past and the places you've been, and also to think, well, with this momentum and with my experience personally, where do I want to go next? So you ask yourself that question. A lot of us might be feeling we need a break from this place by now. I know I could probably use one. I'm a little worn out, maybe. I keep saying to the Almighty, the great spirits and what have you, I say, well, I'm not sure if I can come back here unless there's much more favorable conditions. I'm just simply exhausted. My heart is very stretched, very broken all over the planet, and weeping for the world. My mind is very, very tired from too much learning and overthinking and things like this. Anyway, you may feel the same way or not. But anyway, alas, I digress. But yeah, I'm talking about when you activate your soul, well, your spirit and soul memories, and all of a sudden you wake up. It's like that which is somewhat dormant gets stirred and revitalized, if I may say. So for yourselves, you may find similar things. You may find that getting in touch with the ancestors of your current body, it's very easy because people will be in and out of the body. Your ancestors can currently be in every country in the world, all over the place, as far as soul family and soul groupings. But if you want to access, let's say, the collective memory of your physical body and the ancestors of that, which is what we're speaking about, and inherent in the blood, and sort of this soul group family, or this one spirit spread out into many, and with progeny and procreation and all these things, and you suddenly find yourself in your current incarnation, and you're wishing to understand a little bit more. So it's good to do these things. You can certainly go and do a DNA blood test and send it off. My mother's youngest brother, my Uncle Dave, who lives in the west of Canada in Vancouver area, well, more or less Vancouver, in BC, British Columbia, he sent a sample of his blood to Dublin, Ireland, and did an ancestry. And anyways, so some things that we knew about and some things were a little more intriguing. But all that to say, you may activate and you may speak with your own spirit guides and the ancestors that may come, because it's like an open communication. They're people. It's not like you have to do some things and everything is foreign and far away and super aloof. We may speak to our guides and those around us, and very quickly, if they're willing to communicate, and if they think we're ready to know something, it won't take long for them maybe to give a communication of some kind, or hints and signs that we might see in the upcoming days or hours or weeks ahead, and little hints and things, depending on the level of, for lack of a term, mystical awareness you might have, or the approach or the style that might be comfortable for you, that kind of thing. So I found that by channeling, for lack of a better word, and sort of stirring that memory code in the blood where the spirit resides, that you may get in touch with very many. And it doesn't even have to be physically. You may have, you can get in touch with ancestors that are of different colors, and their spirits may come and say, oh yeah, I remember you when you were in Africa or Asia or wherever else, for example. So those spirits might have an affinity with you because they're part of your soul group. They're part of your spirit family, and they're going to have an interest because they want to see, descendants continue, see how their progeny is doing, and it's like a vast project of importance in which they're going to take a great interest because they want to see the success of that, and they want to see the outcome of that. They want to see all that the struggle and the turmoil wasn't for nothing. And yes, it is indeed leading to the great end, the climactic moment of the great work, the great ascension, and all these things. Obviously, I have a huge interest in my own children. I have 2 kids, a son and a daughter, and I'm very much hoping for their best outcome in every which way. And I would like to be a granddad one day, even a great granddad, depending how long I might live in this body. But I would like to see that, the continuation of that. You don't have to be a parent to have a big interest in family or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but you get the overall idea. So to activate, you just sort of, it doesn't have to take huge stylized rituals. It doesn't have to take anything major or anything in, like I was saying, in foreign territory. Realize the instancy. Is that a word? Okay. We use that now. The immediacy. I think that's what I was trying to say. The instancy. Instant coffee. Realize the instancy, the immediacy of how those spirits may give you signs quite quickly, because they're always there, always available. A phone call away by the spirit, which is faster than any high-speed internet. This is the power of thought. Excuse me. And in many cases, your spirit guides may know, just as God might say, I know what you're going to ask before you even ask it. I know you. I know you very well. I know what you need, and I know, and they might be eagerly awaiting and say, oh, you're taking an interest, so let's shower you with a little gift or a little something to sort of enhance those memories and that particular understanding of it. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's been pertinent for me. Like I was saying, I have such a fascination with the whole history of the entire world. Every culture, every country, it's very, very interesting to see where the humans migrated from. It's hard to say exactly the full true story on, humans started here. It looks like we've been seeded in a few places to start the human process, the human soul evolution process. The story of Adam and Eve, for example, it's much more mysterious than a lot of people think. It doesn't necessarily need to be taken literal in every single which way. But they call Adam the adamantine man, which was one such prototype, and that doesn't mean it was necessarily one person, although you could look at it from that ancestry as one such seeding took place there between what, as they say, the classical Garden of Eden, Tigris and Euphrates rivers, and between those areas and whatnot. But that would be only one seeding from the sort of that bloodline perspective. But the seedings happened apparently in many places at once. And this is why you have different colors of people and different languages that are very different and all these sort of things. Tower of Babel involved or not. But indeed, God has many mysteries for us and varieties and flavors that we can enjoy, lest it be too bland and too much one thing, too static, or however you want to call it. So, talk to your body, talk to your blood, talk to your physical entity that you're inhabiting for the moment, and think and meditate on, from whatever origin, as far back as your mind might be able to find, up until the present moment, and say, wow, it's been quite an interesting journey of humanity from the beginning of this world, and even before that, spiritually speaking, who knows where we've been. But as far as this earth school is concerned, think about all that variety of things, and leading up until now, the struggle and the joy and surviving and striving and looking for improvement, looking for truth. We often make the huge mistake of thinking the ancestors are less evolved than us in certain ways, and their cognitive ability, their intelligence wasn't less. It's just we've been able to develop more over time. Maybe the soul, the spirits that are in us, the soul spirit matrix, call it what you want, the Atma, has had more experience and been more humbled, maybe been stretched, and all sorts of variety of lifetimes and what have you. But people were not dumb. The cognitive ability wasn't, it's not like Neanderthal cavemen finally became, no, we were created smart from the beginning, intentionally, of course, because we were meant to inherit a huge understanding and tip of the iceberg only. So if you wanted to, and I'm going to be doing it myself more and more, I wanted to unlock some mysteries, some forgotten things. I wanted to get in touch with the ancestor spirits in particular. At the moment of this recording, like I said, I'm very interested in the Celts and the Gauls and the Britons and all these the Picts, which was just the name the Latin speaking people gave them, because tattooed and painted and all that. But I feel the mystery. I feel like there's forgotten knowledge that's there, and maybe I would go to the Celtic lands, physically speaking, after expensive tickets and all these things, but to go there and to try to uncover some mysteries and see about forgotten languages and try to understand, oh, what do these monoliths mean? What do they represent? And hear about the local legends and what historians might have to say. But just as valid, or even more valid, or the very source of that which can validate, would be the very soul, spirit itself, themselves, that can help us unlock these memories. So you speak to your body, you speak with your blood, and you ask the spirits. If you want to find out anything in the world, you may contact your spirit guides, and if they're willing to show you, then be prepared to follow some interesting trails. Many things come unexpected. A lot of the time, as you guys know, a lot of the time when we look for something, we don't find it, and then we're just sort of not expecting something, then a huge gift or boon or clue sort of falls into our laps. However, sometimes we ask for something and then it does come quite quickly, so that's also, and the birds agree. Hello, my darling. There's a few birds around me. I was trying to sit in a quite quiet spot here with some vegetation around me. Flora and fauna abound. Sometimes spirits will speak through animals, particularly birds and such, and insects. They might make a noise or land on you in a certain time. I'm not saying that necessarily was having to do with this recording I'm making, but sometimes they can do those things. So be prepared, and there, unexpected things happen, like we were saying. So if you're interested in uncovering these things, doesn't matter what physical color you are. If you want to find out some ancient histories or get in touch with that particular, if you want to call them races of humanity, or let's call it schools of training for humanity, or the spices of humanity, I don't know, you call it as you like. You may get in touch with these entities, who are indeed family and very wonderful friends. We have soul family all over the globe, in a body and out of a body. Some waiting to incarnate, some waiting to die, just taking turns, some standing in the gap on the in-between, and all for the greater good, unless, of course, completely ignorant and following some silly path, and I don't know, there's lots to be recovered there, I guess. But anyway, I don't want to make the video too long, but yeah, speak to your blood and exterior-wise ask the spirits to assist you, to give you memories, to give you dreams, to give you clues, to assist you, develop your rapport and the way in which you'd like to have some verified signs and clues and all these things, so that you might come to finer points of knowledge and memories and access to yourself. And sometimes it comes as a moment of enlightenment. It's like there's a dormant part that's sort of sleeping in a hibernation, and then we think and we follow a certain path, we read a certain book, we look at certain things, whatever it might be, meditating on a certain, and all of a sudden, like unlocking a huge piece of memory that is forever. You can call it the Akashic and the Atmak, memory of the world, soul memories, and all these things, whatever you like, doesn't matter the terms. But so it's like unlocking a book or an encyclopedia of knowledge within that's hidden and dormant and yet not. And all of a sudden it starts to unfold. I know that I tried to ask myself, for example, with what I was saying with the Alba, which was standing out to me very loud and clear last night, Albion, Albion, Alba. It kept coming back to me. I see myself as having reddish, brownish hair or something, and blue eyes, and a lot more tattoos and paint, but it's vague. It's strong, and I was almost at the point of crying, like weeping and sobbing. My heart was screaming, and I was speaking to the spirits, and they were with me last night to some degree. I didn't see any physically looking type of entity, but I saw flashes, and I was lying down on my bed in the dark, and I was putting my hands up trying to see if I could touch or get some communication, and there seemed to be some movements. I remember just kept saying, I weep for you, I miss you, I love you so much. I know we've been all over the world, but I mean, certain things sort of just haunt us because we just need to know. This is why a lot of the times, even if they're not knowing that they're doing it, a lot of the times, for example, somebody says to themselves, I just know that somewhere in the jungles in Guatemala or Mexico, I know there's a city. I know where it is. I'm just going to find it. I have to. And sometimes it gets discovered that way, recovered and discovered that way, because they happen to stumble into it by following the intuition, because the soul memory is there, and they need to know, and they end up finding it. Behold, there is I say Vilcabamba? Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. But sometimes people that are just haunted with the idea of knowing something, and they follow a path and they put an action into it, and then they make these huge discoveries. And that huge discovery doesn't have to be some world-renowned thing where, you know, it's in the on the news worldwide and all these things. I mean, that can certainly happen, I suppose, and it has, and it will, and it will continue to do so. But huge also meaning even just for yourself, even just for a huge eureka moment, or oh my God, aha, wow, and that haunting, that sort of feeling, that essence would not be present in us if it wasn't there to be discovered. It's there within, even as a silent voice, as a silent scream, or as this huge feeling, because it's true. And it's up to the, let's say, the ego consciousness or the ego conscious mind to recover that and then have a access and spark it. So you may do a ritual, you may light some candles, and you may pray to the elements and pray to the great spirits and the angels to assist you in finding this. You may wish to discover in different ways. You may wish to do something that sort of enhances and reenacts it for you, or unlocks. Ultimately, it comes down to unlocking that memory and getting that knowledge. And if your soul spirit combo in your body, because in a way we are our own grandparents, if you want to be quite literal about it, after the incarnations, you know, hop skipping along the planet. But then you may return to a certain bloodline body type, and then say, oh yeah, this seems familiar. And so it's sort of like a double wombo combo, where your soul memory has an affinity to a certain culture and era, but then and as we were saying at the beginning of the video, and then your current blood also has that memory etched and carved into it like a living tattoo on your heart, and you're trying to access it. So if you wish to do these things, do them safely. Don't conjure up, you know, mischievous and spirits and, you know, nonsense things like this, but with truth, with love, with faith, with the desire for knowledge and access to real things, and doing it in a holy and humble way, a lot of these things might come. I'm going to look deeply into my recent, and it's not the first time that's been around, but I just felt such a strong affinity with these people in that location of the world. I know I've lived there before, and this physical body that does have some Celtic blood is dying to know and remember what that was all about in more fine detail. And I'm sure that if I keep up and my sincere endeavor continues, then something will happen. And the same for you. You may uncover a lot of things, and even if it's just on a personal level, just simply to know and to enjoy that memory, and to have such an access to that soul grouping. It's incredible. Our soul spirit family is vast and interesting, but those particular bloodlines and ancestors, they're very real. A lot of people talk about them. There's books on this, there's videos, there's tarot cards and all sorts of things, but own it and know it for yourself, and have that reality seep in and fuse with it like a fine tea with the water and the herbs, but fuse that, the spirit and the blood, and understand and have a wonderful reckoning and appreciation for that, an enlightening moment for that. So I'm going to continue it. I recommend for anybody interested, please go right ahead and speak with them. They may give you names, they may show themselves visibly as entities. They may be dressed in clothing from different eras, they may be dressed modern. You might have a visit from your deceased grandparents or great-grandparents. A lot of times children see the spirits of grandparents. So these type of things, but you can go far back. The memory is permanent. Once something has been done, the Akashic, or call it what you will, permanently, spiritually records that happening, that doing, that history, and it's available to be tapped into. And what a wonderful thing. So there you go. I hope you guys will find some value out of this and some inspiration maybe. I'm feeling very inspired at this moment for that stuff too. And yeah, let's see what we can find. Much love, blessed be. May the powers of truth, righteousness, holiness, and excellence be with you always, my friends. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Ciao for now. Slancha.